Hey guys, how's it going? MKS here, and welcome to part 2 of my birthday wish list. I hope you enjoy it. I do often wonder when I make these videos if people will actually enjoy them, but I hope some people out there will enjoy them. And as ever, I'd love to receive your feedback. And I can't think much to say in the intro. I hope there's nothing I've forgotten, because sometimes I think of what I want to say and then I forget. I don't think I had anything I want to say in the intro, but as I say, this is part 2. I know I mentioned in part 1 how it's exactly 8 months till my 42nd birthday, unfortunately. Because it's about turning older. That's why I wish I would have achieved more. So I'm going through a midlife or even just over midlife crisis. Time passes by so quickly. But I wish I had done it like 9 months before. Actually, that's one thing I was going to say, because it's most babies take 9 months to be born, so symbolically I think it would have been cool to do it 9 months before. But anyway, I tried to waffle, as I say, and sorry about the lighting condition, by the way. I have some problem with my electrics, so I think some fuses bust or something like that, so unfortunately I don't have as much lighting as I would like. Not that it's that great anyway. Some people tell me that. I mean, it looks all right to me, but I'm sure it looks a bit dim for a lot of people. I know it's a little bit dim, but anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling. These are list points number 11 to 20, and I know I do these in 4 parts in the hope that they won't be too long. On that note, I'll try and stop waffling, and I say I hope you enjoy it, and as ever, please let me know what you think. And here goes. So number 11, I wish that God would love me more. Unfortunately, they say God never changes, but I wish God would change a lot of rules in life and love me enough to help me to reach my dreams and stuff like that, and protect my paperworks and goals and things like that. But anyway, that's one of my birthday wish lists or dreams or whatever. Number 12, I dream that I can inspire and motivate and encourage other people as part of my legacy or whatever, or things I want to work on, basically. Number 13, I hope that my goals are not too narcissistic. I don't think they are. I know it's probably a little bit narcissistic to talk about my stomach's rumbling for some reason. You can probably hear it. I suppose some people might say it's narcissistic to talk about your birthday wish list or dream. I'd love to know what you think, if you think my dreams are narcissistic. I think the only selfish dream I have is my dream for Italian football to do well, and probably one other dream, but I suppose I can be guilty of greed, gluttony, or whatever. That's one of my other sins, if you like. But other than that, I'd like to think most of them are noble. But I'd love to know what you think, whether you think my dreams are selfish, selfless, or somewhere in between. I think they're probably in between. I suppose there's no complete selfless sort of thing, but I think they are more closer to being more slightly more selfless than selfish. But I'd love to know what you think, as ever. I suppose I'm gutted about turning older as well. It's another thing I do as a negative, and I suppose I could probably include a nightmare list for my birthday as well, one of which being turning older. The last few birthdays I've been a bit grumpy because I was gutted about turning 40 and then gutted about turning 41, so I really didn't want to celebrate or do much to do with it. Like, if people want to phone me up to wish me a happy birthday, I don't really, not really in the mood to do that, because I feel gutted about, as I say, turning older. And number 14, I hope I can solve problems, and I'd love to use my birthday, as I say, to get support for my goals, things like that. Number 15, on that note, as I said in part 1, my 5 causes, which I often talk about. Now I do repeat them quite a lot because they are quite important to me. Cat's driving me crazy, like trying to climb up my leg or something. I don't know what he's trying to do. Probably trying to get my attention for some reason. But anyway, I have just fed him, so he has been fed. But anyway, I dreamed that people would support my 5 causes for my birthday. Like, if people gave me a present, instead of them to unless it's chocolate, I suppose that could be something, but I'd normally ask them to support any of my 5 causes, donate to those sorts of things, as I mentioned, like Italian football, Celtic, libertarianism, supporting people from former colonies, and tackling poverty and alleviating suffering and spreading peace, love, joy, hope, and happiness. As I say, I think at least 3, if not 4, of those are probably quite noble causes, dare I say. But he wants to be on camera. He can't make up his mind whether he wants to be on camera or not. But yeah, if people give donations to charity for my birthday or stuff like that. I normally like to do stuff like support the Rare Gem School, which I support in Kenya, and things like that. Support special needs schools or learning disabled schools or neurodiverse schools, or whatever you call them, in developing nations. Number 16, I think it'd be interesting if people supported those sorts of things. Another thing is, I thought it'd be quite cool. I don't know if I'd ever get to do this, but given that he is quite old, but I think his birthday is a day after mine, which is Warren Buffett. I'd love to meet Warren Buffett and probably see if I can get some of his ideas and try to encourage him to invest in like my goals, like especially Italian football and Celtic, or even libertarianism. I suppose I expect rich people to support libertarianism anyway, because the more freedom you have, if you have more money and power, then I suppose libertarianism will probably favour you more. That's not the reason why I support it, but I just think people should have as much freedom as possible, freedom to do what they want with their wealth, their money, their body, and whatever else, their own time or whatever. But it'd be great if I could meet Warren Buffett, but I don't know if I'll ever get there because, as he is quite old. His business partner, Charlie Munger, just trying to remember his name, passed away recently. But I'd love to meet people like Warren Buffett and even Bill Gates and like wealthy people, rich people like multi-billionaires, maybe even potential investors, as I say, for Italian football and Celtic and things like that. And I know that, well, my 5 causes, shall we say, I know that Warren Buffett often says in interviews, I've seen him say in interviews or heard him say in interviews, that he only invests in things that he understands. But I often wonder why, if he's friends with Bill Gates, why doesn't Bill Gates explain to him about technology so he can invest in good tech stock and things like that? But apparently he avoids technology and things like that because because he's quite old, as I say, when he was growing up, technology wasn't that important, so he doesn't really delve into areas which he doesn't understand and that kind of thing. And I mentioned that because I'm thinking Italian football as well and Celtic. I'd love to convince him to invest in those sorts of things somehow. And as I say, my 5 causes generally, I'd love to know how to get billionaires and wealthy investors, generally sovereign wealth funds, venture capitalists and whatnot, to invest in those 5 causes. Anyone who invests, basically, any individual or organization, preferably both, especially the latter, who invests and has a lot of money to invest, like Berkshire Hathaway and Cascade Investment and others to invest in, as I say, my 5 causes, and even like in people with neurodiverse conditions. On that note, I'd love to create a network for neurodivergent or neurodiverse, whichever term you prefer, or special needs or learning disabled people in the film industry, neurodiverse filmmakers working together to make films together, producers, directors, actors, actresses and whatnot. It'd be interesting, I think, if we could use our creativity. So initially I thought of dyslexic filmmakers, but then I thought to expand it to neurodivergent filmmakers generally. I think it'd be interesting to see what we could create by working together. So neurodivergent, obviously meaning like dyslexic or people with ADHD, autism, or any related conditions and that kind of thing, to work together on making films together and working on different projects like that together. Number 18, I wish that my birthday and even my birth month, as I mentioned in part 1, would bring positivity to the world. So I'd love it, August, to be like truce month, peace month, anti-war month. I suppose that's sort of the same thing. Love month. I suppose I'm not into romantic love, but love as in like caring for others, sympathy, charity, empathy, and that kind of thing. Sympathy and empathy to me are 2 different things. Like, I think you can have sympathy for someone you don't even like, whereas empathy, I think, is something where. So I think sympathy is like when someone suffers so much and you feel sorry for them, or something like that. They suffer, especially they suffer a lot. So it could be even someone you don't like. Some people could even have sympathy for someone they dislike or even hate. Whereas I think empathy is like where you're happy when someone does well as well. So I think they're different. Some people think they're the same, but I think they're different personally. But I'd love to know what you think again. But as I say, I wish for August generally to be like a positive month where the weather's good, there's peace, love, joy, hope, happiness, and all those good positive things, as I work on my causes to alleviate suffering and spread peace, love, joy, and all the positive things generally, and the other parts of my 5 causes and that kind of thing. Number 19, and also supporting Indigenous, African and Australasian software developers and game makers and things like that. And number 20, Indigenous Africans and Australasians in STEM and supporting other goals like that. STEM education for Africa and Indigenous Australasians. And another thing I think is another quirky idea of mine, I suppose. This is probably the most quirky idea maybe in this list, but in part 2. But I was thinking, like, if and whenever people say, like, excuse me, I'm older than you, or merely and simply, I'm respect your elders, or things like that, and they use their excuse to be, as I would see it, to be, I think that gives people an excuse to be lazy and hypocritical. Lazy, fat hypocrites, not that I can talk much, but so I think whenever someone asks someone to do an errand, or uses their age to make them do an errand, that they should have to give, if they ask politely, i.e. if they say please, appreciate, and stroke, or thank you, they should have to give £1 to charity. Like if there's a collection pot, so every time someone asks someone to do an errand, that they have to put £1 or $1 or whatever it is, depending on where they are in the world, and that would into that collection pot, and it would go to charity. It could be for different things like swearing, for goodness sake, or for talking about politics. Definitely not talking about football. That would not be punishable, I don't think. But for any sort of, like, talking about politics or arguing or getting people to do your dirty work, like getting to do errands, like bringing you food or drinks or things like that, I think, or any errand, I think you should have to put £1 or £2 if you don't say please, appreciate, and stroke, or thank you. I think if that's going to work, people would have to hold people to it and stick to it. But I know that's a very controversial idea, because many people do believe, like, in respect to elders and things like that. But I think anyone who gets people to do an errand, and I think should have to put money into a collection pot, and I think that would also make you appreciate it more, because you'd know how much money you're putting into it. So if you say your nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, or whoever are not doing work for you, or don't do anything for you, you would know, because you then have to, instead of taking it for granted, you'd have to appreciate it. And I think that covers everything for part 2, and I hope I haven't forgotten anything, but if I have, I'll probably include it in part 3 or 4, and it wasn't too cringeworthy. Anywho, peace and love. I'm out.